This month's athletic flow workout, we're using the single ring for the side lever rotation. So what you're going to do is, it's much like the dislocate and the macaco or the heverson, the different variations where you're kind of doing a flip but rotating. So it really helps with that. Obviously, if you've got a pole or a matrix setup like this, you can do the setup which I'll show you in a sec. I prefer that for training, but I really like having the option that if I've just got a set of rings and bands, I can do the whole program. So I always like to share that. And this one conditions it just as well, just not as much fun because it's very hard to get in the air. And it's not very many people I could imagine who could actually do that with this version, where it's nice when you kind of, you've got your feet off the ground with the pole or with the matrix setup where you've got two parallel bars. Is the easier version. But here, to start off, just got one hand anchored, pressing on the floor and then pulling on the ring up top. So you might just get a feel for that. If you find it really hard on the wrist, because it's a lot of wrist extension, you can turn that way. Otherwise you're there, and then you can have it like that, turn, and you're pulling with that top arm as you push with the bottom one. To make that harder, you just have the legs out straight, and then turn, and come back. Doing both sides. I like stepping over with one leg bent, and that's going to help with the bridge rotations as well, and it's just nice because you can kind of really push with that leg as it bends over and it comes to the ground. So what I mean by that, I've got that position, then that one, and then I could push forward off that one, really load that, control it coming around. So really try and get that single arm support pushing, and that single arm push. Again, your dislocates will really help with this, the back bridges, but you want them all to feel good. This particular workout, it's one of those ones that's quite hard, and it really takes time, a lot of mobility, stability, strength. And I'm, even for me, I feel a bit hesitant sometimes, like today, do I want to film this today because I feel like I've just trained and I feel a bit fatigued. So if I'm feeling that, just know that this is a hard workout. So if you're not feeling up for it on a day, either do another workout, one of the other ones, or just go for the easy version. You don't have to force yourself to do these things to get better. Sometimes when you're a bit fatigued or a bit off, and then usually, you get a couple of sets to warm up and you'll be feeling better. So just listen to your body, work with it. It's all about that nice development, and overall, it's not just when you feel great that you're going to develop. You've got to develop when you feel a bit off as well, and that may not mean doing the hardest versions, but it just means you're developing your mind as well as the tissues in a different way. So the macaco is next. So again, very similar in the sense that you need a good back arch, you need that dislocate, shoulder stability, all of that. So your base version is just a hip raise with one hand back. The more you can turn that hand, the better, but you might just start with it like that and just work on getting the hip drives and the arm swing. So you're doing that one, and then the hips are up. Then you can work on getting that hand turned more, like that arm comes up, that goes straight over, and pressing down, like that. And doing the other side, drive it up, and press. Once you start the more dynamic versions, there's the acro this month is very helpful for this as well. So you get that cross training. The other thing is just kind of getting a jump to the side at the beginning. So you like this, and just bring the hips around to the side, just trying to get as much of a hip extension as possible, but trying to feel that lightness. It isn't easy, it is quite challenging, so you want to try and make sure that you just focus on getting that nice hip pop. From there, get that arm swing and just go around the side, but try and get as much hip extension as possible. So your arm drops down, and pop. And then obviously your cartwheel's going to help a little bit there, but the cartwheel's closing the hip this way. You want to try and open the hip through the front to really develop this. So when you start to go over a bit more, you've really got to kind of commit. I like kind of springing down and coming back up. It makes it a lot easier to get a good flick through the hips. So from here I'll come down and drive over a bit more. Like that. And you're just gradually getting those hips to go over the top more and more and more as you feel more confident opening the front of the hips. It's not easy. It is a really hard movement, but it's like anything, you know, you've got to develop it. But remember, it's going through that whole chain. So you've got to notice, okay, my shoulders tight, my thoracic tight, my hips tight, they all tight. And just kind of keep working through that checklist to gradually improve it so you can get the hips to go more straight over. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's always a work in progress, and you want it to feel good. You want to make sure that, you know, whenever you're training, if you feel like it's hurting you a little bit, then back off, find a version that works well. So, you know, it develops, but it just takes time. It's one of those things that a lot of skill, a lot of tissue development required, and, you know, time that it takes to develop those two things. So always work with the version that's right for you, so that way you feel confidence in it, and you can feel that you're actually going in the right direction, that you're not aggravating any tissues to force it. So just one more. So from here, I'm going to come down, spring, drive the hips up, swing that arm overhead, and then let my hips kind of go over the top and a little bit to the side. This is my harder side when I go with the right hand down. The left side I find a lot easier with the left hand. But again, you always want to try and bring balance to the body. So here, drive it over. But yeah, it's a practice thing. The leg part, we've got to run this month, so you're going to do a figure 8. So you're trying to sprint. You can make it bigger or smaller, but you're working that figure 8, so you're hitting the different angles in the ankle. So coming around like that. So you can make it shorter, like this is just a demo because it's inside the frame, but you know, I do these probably half or 2/3 the length of the room. So you're getting a nice kind of sprint, and then that corner, sprint, and then that corner, but it's up to you. But the whole point is to hit both sides and develop that. So you keep that nice, healthy ankle stability and strength. So just to demo the flag version, the side lever using the matrix, or you could use a vertical pole. The grip on the vertical pole is a lot harder than the parallel bars like this. You just got that nice support, and then drive, rotate around, and come back. From here, pushing, pulling, so obviously the hips are a lot lower than when I'm doing it with the one ring. So it's a lot harder to do that because the floor's in the way when you're doing it with the ring, and then also too, the ring is on that kind of angle, and it's much heavier on that wrist pushing on the floor because I'm extending the wrist right back. So 4 rounds of that, pretty tough. So, you know, if it's a workout style that we'll do here in the class, it's 8 minutes, but like I said, these are very high skill-based movements, so more rest period, and just taking your time is definitely worthwhile if you really want to develop it, or just go through the easy versions, tick it off, and just keep developing. So your body will keep getting stronger and healthier in all the different positions as long as you're consistent. So enjoy it, tick it off, get it done.